Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I wanted to show you how I made these BT21 inspired magnets. Really happy with how they turned out and thought that you would like them because so many people on this channel asked me to do like BTS, BT21 or like line friends inspired DIYs, and I haven't really done it so far just because I'm not the biggest BTS fan. I kind of like country music, sorry. I really do like the BT21 characters. I like line friends, especially Brown. So yeah, I thought I would share the BT21 inspired kind of DIY as little magnets today because I thought that'd be a bit fun. I was going to do Polymer Clay charms, but then figured quite a few people have done them already, so I thought I'd do magnets, make them nice and simple so you'll be able to recreate them as well. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's video and I'm just going to get straight on into it. So the first magnet I'm going to make is RJ, the cute little, I think it's llama, right? I think it's a llama. What I did was I took a small ball of polymer clay, pushed it down onto a ceramic tile, and then just used a needle to take out some little triangle-like shapes, rounding out as I went. So I did this to make this sort of shape, and then I took two small balls of polymer clay, shaped them in between like my thumb and index finger to make a little triangle, and then just blended them onto the top. To smooth out the shape, I just used some alcohol with a paintbrush just to kind of smooth out the clay to make it nice and rounded. Next I moved on and made Koya, which is a little koala. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. I took another ball of polymer clay, rolled it out into an oval and flattened it down onto the tile again. I then took two small balls of polymer clay, attached them to the side, blended them together, and then just used my alcohol again to smooth it all out. To make Shuki, what I then did was took an even smaller little ball of polymer clay and just pinched the very top of it with my kind of thumb and index finger again, pulling it upwards and then rounding out again. I took the same needle that I used on the first one and then just took a kind of chunk out the side to make it a little bit more prominent. To make Van, I basically just did the exact same way that I did Shuki, just pinching together the top piece of the clay, but instead of taking out that side bit, I just left it as it was once it was all smoothed out. So I made all of mine to begin with and then painted them after, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit to see like the painting bit. But anyway, moving on, I made Tata, so I just took another small ball of polymer clay, flattened it out on a tile, and then just cut out the top part, making sure the bottom part of like the heart was kind of pointed with my fingers. I smoothed out with the end of a paintbrush and again going in with some alcohol, I made sure the whole thing was completely smooth. If you don't have alcohol, you can just wait until they are baked and cured and then you could sand them back to smooth them out. Moving on to Cookie, I took a small ball of polymer clay. I feel like I need to stop saying that because I did it on basically all of them. Just took a ball and flattened it out. But I added another small ball, rolled it out, flattened it and cut the end off with my needle and blended that to the top to make the ear. As you can see here, using that needle tool, it just cuts down perfectly. You don't need any other tools really, just a big needle is your like main tool. I took this ear and folded it in on itself because obviously Cookie's ear is folded down, so I did that, and then again I just smoothed it out with some alcohol. Moving on to Chimney the Little Dog. Oh my goodness, I love this one. I flattened that ball, I took out two little indents from each side, and then I smoothed that out. I then added the ears on separately, so I just took a ball, pinched together one end to make a teardrop shape, and then added one on either side to act as the ears. I did blend this down with the needle, just making sure that it was all nice and neat with the very point of my needle so I could get in all the shape. So next was left was Mang, so I just took my needle and cut out a right angle underneath the chin and then used the needle to create a nice flat point on the bottom. I then added a small ball to the top to create the ear and then three more, one on the left side and two on the right hand side, just to create the little mane. Once that was done, all of my sculpting was then complete and I was left with the blanks, so I just put them in the oven at 110 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes. You could pause here for any additional information on baking, but once baked and cooled down, I was then able to paint all the shapes. So I use acrylic paint to paint my polymer clay. I just like acrylic paint because it dries nice and fast. For RJ, I painted the base in the white first. So basically with all these shapes, I paint the base first and then all of the details on afterwards with a nail art brush. As you can see, this is like a nice short brush with a really tiny little nib, and this allows you to get really in there, just get all of those small details that you'll want to kind of paint on. Once the paint had fully dried, to make it nice and shiny, I coated the whole thing in UV resin, and then I just cured that down with my UV torch, which I bought from Amazon. I'm just going to leave you now with some music because I basically just did the same process on every single one of the magnets. So if you want to see how I painted them and in which order, then yeah, I've left you with some music and hopefully you can enjoy that.
Now obviously at this point they are still just polymer clay kind of little bits, so in order to make them into magnets I used some super strong super glue on the back and glued on tiny little magnets, which I actually bought from Amazon a while back, and yeah, that's what I did.
So this is how the magnets have turned out. I think they are super adorable. I actually love the simplicity of them, even though they took me around about 8 to 9 hours to make in total, from sculpting the clay, baking it, letting it cool down, like painting them all, letting each layer dry, then curing them, then sticking the like little magnets on the back. So yeah, they did take me quite a while, but I think it was worth it. It was a nice relaxing day making them. Yeah, so if you do end up making them, then be sure to tag me on Instagram. I love to see all of your recreations. I just reposted a whole load of stuff on my stories just a second ago. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up before you go, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye!